Alright, today I want to explain why I think speaking a language fluently is like playing an instrument well. So for this video I'm going to use the following definition of fluency. So fluency is being able to take whatever you're thinking and express it through language without effort automatically. So you can think of this as a mind-to-mouth connection. So the equivalent in music would be improvisation, because with improvisation the musician has to take whatever he's thinking and translate it into the language of music. He has to bring whatever he's thinking into his hands or his mouth or whatever. So fluency in a language is equivalent to improvisation in music. So how do musicians build up to that level where they're able to improvise? Well, first they start with scales. Once they're able to play scales with some degree of facility, then they move on to learning simple pieces, and then once they master those simple pieces, they move on to learning, the techniques of improvisation, like learning, licks and how to assemble a solo. And then once they're able to master all those, once they've mastered all those previous steps, scales, pieces, and then the licks or the phrases of a solo, they put that all together to improvise. And then with all that, after all that practice, then they're able to finally improvise and take whatever they're thinking and bring it to their hands. So with musicians it's more of a mind to hand connection, or even a mind to mouth connection. So this, I think, is directly correlated with language, because language, spontaneous language, is improvisation in a sense, because you're using words to make phrases, to make sentences. You're connecting sentences to express your spontaneous thoughts. So what one needs to do when learning a language is go through the same progression that musicians go through to be able to express themselves fluently. So how is that going to happen? Well, first they have to master saying words correctly, saying words easily. What is this? Book. What's that? Table. That has to be fluent. And then after that, when I say fluent, I mean it has to be instantaneous. The mind-to-mouth connection has to be instantaneous and automatic and easy, effortless. So after words, then they build phrases. How are you? My name is this. I want some water. Things like that. And then they join those phrases to make sentences. I want water because I am thirsty. Using connecting words, conjunctions to make sentences. Then, once they've made sentences, they have to practice saying the sentences and then joining the sentences to make a dialogue. Then, once they're able to do all this, then finally they'll have the tools needed to be able to speak spontaneously. So this is something that I'm experiencing now with Chinese, because Chinese, unlike the Romance languages, the syntax is different, so my mind isn't used to thinking in Chinese syntax. So I've had to go through this entire process, which I didn't really experience with Spanish or French or any other Romance language necessarily as much. So with Chinese, first you have to get used to saying words by themselves with the tones and everything. What's this? Wazi. What's this? Shu. So the words have to come fluently. Then saying phrases fluently, small phrases which are hard to make for the native English speaker, because the sounds of Chinese are not easy for us to make. So simple phrases, and then taking those simple phrases and joining them into sentences. And so that's kind of the stage I am right now in Chinese, taking the phrases I know and putting them together to build sentences, and then practicing saying those sentences. So right now I'm not at the stage where I can talk spontaneously, because one, I still have to practice constructing sentences with the grammar and syntax, and second, I haven't practiced saying sentences enough. I don't have enough fluency in saying the sentences, making them come out of my mouth when I want them to. So I have to work on that mind-to-mouth connection when building sentences. And once I get that, then I'll be able to construct a dialogue, and then hopefully, once the mind-to-mouth connection is strong enough, be able to speak fluently. So I hope this analogy makes sense. I find it useful to draw analogies between different things or different ways of learning, because it's sometimes gives you new insights in ways to approach learning new things. So I hope this was useful. I hope you found it interesting. Thank you for listening.